regretting silly decisions that I've made in the last hour. This is your host, Craftsdwarf. Welcome to the Nen Show Podcast, the second to last episode of the original Shaman King manga. Here with my co-host, Mathwiz. Say hello, Mathwiz.
I'm also making decisions, like getting a blood draw and then being like, yeah, let's do the podcast the same day. I'm fine. Everything's fine. So if I'm a little loopy or a little weird, I can blame that.
We're all a little bit weird. But this time you do have an excuse. That's fair. My dumb mistake was I decided, we're recording a little later. I'll eat lunch first. Oh, what am I going to have for lunch? Oh, I'll have really spicy noodles that are going to fuck with my sinuses and make my voice sound a little weird. So if I sound a little weird, it's because of that. All right. Anyway, on to the reading. Before we get started, how are you feeling? It was a pretty long one.
This reading was definitely, I think it's just it made me think about Shaman King's general structure, how it's all the shaman fight. So it's kind of all one big, overarching thing. Mm-hmm. And there's not really how in a lot of the other series we've read, there's kind of okay, there's this arc, we're going to go to this place and have this conflict, or, this character is involved. And so it kind of breaks it up into little chunks. I feel like with Shaman King, it's kind of just once the shaman fight starts, it all goes, and it's doesn't feel like there's any room to just there's not a good breaking point anywhere, because it just goes and goes.
No, yeah, towards the end of the reading, I was like, I wonder if there's an earlier place we can stop at. And even, honestly, where we stop at is still, in itself, just kind of awkward, I feel like. But also, it's, 8 volumes in, or 9 volumes into the reading, and it's we can't just talk about 20 volumes. We can't just finish the whole thing.
Yeah, so I think,
it just keeps going.
Yeah, in that way, I think it's not my favorite story structure, I guess. That, I'm not going to say that there's not downtime or moments to breathe, but I feel like there's not a lot of that, because it's just all right, we're still in the shaman fight, so we got to go to the next thing, and then we got to go to the next thing. And I think it can be kind of a little in terms of structure, I think it can be a little exhausting in that way, but it's still it's still good.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because last time I thought the manga was clicking with me, but this time, I'm not sure how I feel. I'm kind of it's unique. I feel it's definitely got some neat stuff going for it, but it's not doing stuff in a way that personally connects with me. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm not oh, this is really interesting. I'm oh, okay, and I kind of keep reading. It's just been okay, and I'm and now I'm getting to a point where it's yeah, but I wish I liked it more. So I definitely don't I think I still like it more than I did the last time I read it, but I don't really love it either, so I'm just yeah, and especially when it's such a long reading, maybe I'll have more interesting thoughts or things to say than I think, but I don't know, it's just yeah, it's okay, and I know where some things are going in the next reading, of course, but I'll leave that for the next reading. And yeah, I also, part of me is wondering, because the manga was, I believe it was canceled at volume 32.
Okay.
But I'm also, that it was because it was the author's health issues too. So I'm also wondering how much of I don't know, just a thought that I had, because one example is Bleach, where Kubo was struggling with his health, and so there were some compromises he had to make in the final arc. So I'm wondering because there's a lot that happens, and it definitely because there's the whole tournament structure, and then it also completely breaks down, I feel. Not completely, but it's definitely it becomes very secondary to the actual conflict. and like, yeah, we don't really care. Like, no one kind of cares about the tournament by the second half of this reading. It's just kind of there, and like they even like, yeah, we're just gonna give up on fighting Hao and wait until he's vulnerable after he's already won. And it's like, oh, like that's cool and different, but it's also like,
yeah, like it kind of feels like it has to pivot in a slightly new direction, or so, like move some things up, or I'm not sure, but it's definitely something.
Yeah, because I'm fine either way, of course, because like, another example of a manga in which like the author, Oda's been trying to end One Piece quicker since like the war. Like that's when he's settled into like his current pace of just like making it really dense and doing lots of things per chapter, because otherwise it would never fucking end, right? So like I'm used to that kind of, and manga is just such a painful thing. So Takei having, when he's also struggling, having to again make those compromises to tell a story, like, that can still be interesting and cool, and I think there's some neat stuff here, but it's also just like, I don't know, I'm not specifically feeling this story, so which is unfortunate. But
I feel like with the way the Shaman fight is structured and the way the story just kind of floats in and out of conflicts, like it feels like a story that, I mean, like a very designed for Shonen Jump kind of story where it could just keep going if like, if health was good and like the ideas were there. So yeah, I guess that's kind of interesting.
But yeah, on to the actual discussion. I do like how it starts off with, they're talking about like, oh man, he gave up on the Shaman fight, and he's like, Anna's gonna fucking kill me. Just right off. It's like, oh yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, she's, she understands, and of course things aren't over yet, and as we find out, he's definitely not out of the running.
I also like how he's just in a pool of blood after she just... and then like I think they cut away to something else and then come back and he's still just lying in his own blood.
It's pretty good. But anyway, Jian, I don't know, the little conversation they have with Marco, and where it's like, she's gonna uphold her end of the bargain, and Marco's like, yeah, but if we have to kill him after, and she kind of how did she put it? Just never breaks the law, and he just has this face of just kind of like dismissal, where he's just kind of like he's not into it. So I don't know, it was just interesting. Oh yeah, then there's a sequence with Ren sort of like grappling with the killing Chrome before he comes back to life, as sort of because his guilt sort of affected him letting himself get hurt and dying in the first place. But yeah, it's just a neat little sequence for a little angry boy.
Oh yeah, and they did the thing where like, I think I had mentioned the scar like back in the first reading or the second reading, and how like, oh, like I wonder if like there could be a thing there, and like with him getting stabbed, now there's like the cycle of hatred has been cut, and he's got like that scar through the yin and yang, and it's pretty cool symbolism.
Yeah, like he talks about that. It was neat.
I guess it's like just another one of those examples where like sometimes in Jump stories, like I think people talk about it like with Killua and the Needle, how like these stories will have like a physical manifestation of whatever the idea is they're getting across, and scars are definitely like an easy way to do that, and effective.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. So yeah, now we got to the page that you posted on Twitter, where it's like, obviously Ren is, he didn't exactly, he didn't want to come back to he mentioned Yo, where it's like he didn't want Yo to have to, he's strong and he doesn't want Yo sacrificing himself or doing anything like that for him. But I like the exchange where it's like, I didn't ask for you for help, And then it's I love the thing where, because Jian is like, oh, she's so self-sacrificing and pure and sweet, but she's also just a fucking child. So whenever someone like dismisses her or whatever, she's still smiling because of course she has to smile, but she's also like gonna fucking cry. And I love that gag. It's so funny. She's so nice, but everyone else is so mean, and she can't take it, or like she can take all the horrible, worst tortures in the world, and has become incredibly powerful for it. But if she does something nice for you and you go fuck off, she is going to be ruined forever. She's going to be crying herself to sleep for the next 5 years. It's like she's just physically, durable, emotionally fragile. It's so sad.
Yeah, I think I just like the, dedicate a panel to him just like spitting that he's just like, ugh, how could you do this to me?
It's very good.
And yeah, like you said, just the face at the end just caps it off well.
And there's the excuse me. It goes back to Amidabaru's trying to improve even as a spirit, and he was still fucking dead. But yeah, Ren's good. Everyone made it out of the X-Law territory safely. We'll get more stuff with them. Then we go back to Joko for a bit, and I just feel bad for the translators who have to figure out, like, because it's not just the wordplay, because if it was just wordplay, they could just, like, translate it into something that means the same thing, but, But Joko will do, like, visual stuff, like, we gotta stick together, like cheesecake, and it's like, what the fuck are you, like, that doesn't make any sense in English, except that, I guess, cheesecake is lightly as sticky as a food, but it's like, the poor translators, it's like, what the fuck are they supposed to do? Because I know it makes plenty of sense, even if it's also probably really stupid in Japanese, but it's like, man...
I like how as well when he like does the joke and is expecting like the slapstick response and just gets no reaction and is like, oh, come on.
I like what he does later with the third party
third party straight man.
Yes, that's it, where he's like it's just like, wait, hold on, Manzai's supposed to be a 2-person job, and he just comes in as the third person and just, like, hits someone. It's like, that was pretty funny. But yeah, the Icemen get attacked by Bill and Blocken, who are gonna steal their souls, feed Hao's spirit.
I still crack up at big guy Bill.
Yeah. And also, I think this, I feel I might be wrong. And there isn't really that much of the manga left, but I feel like there aren't many more fights that use the power levels like this, because I mentioned before how I kind of like how the manga, like, it has power levels, but it doesn't make them like central to, like, because I feel like Kinnikuman probably had fights where they weren't as important, but they definitely came up a lot, I'm pretty sure, where this is like, they only come up in contexts where it's like important, I feel. And of course, I mean, it's definitely an underpinning, especially like later on, where you have the fucking shenanigans with hell and everyone dying and reviving to get stronger. Obviously the power, because I gotta beat Hao somehow. Right? So, yeah. But yeah, they come back to like the numbers and as limitations basically, and Horo is he's still gonna fight because that's what he cares about, and he's not gonna be a slave to numbers, I guess. And because I remember one thing they bring up is that like if you have low mana, you can't really like control spirits. But what I kind of assumed or felt like was that he's not necessarily trying to control the spirits. He's like working alongside them, basically. But maybe that's off base. Oh yeah, and his dad just comes out of fucking nowhere and then fucks off. Yeah, I don't know if I had that much else to say about the fight.
Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of this arc kind of, I feel like it happened at me, and then it was like punctuated by like a few moments here or there where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I think this is just kind of one of those fights where, I guess it was neat. It was tying into the whole like survival of the fittest thing, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And always one thing I noticed is that like it seems like such a pain in the ass to draw the fucking Legos. With the fucking pips or pegs or whatever you call them. That is like I'm just looking at the art because I mean obviously Takei's art is good. But like I'm just looking at it and I'm like, damn. Lots of detail and lots of like I just especially remember Toriyama with Cell, where it's like I'm gonna design a villain who looks like this, and apparently drawing all those fucking spots was horrible because he drew this character for fucking like 100 chapters, and he's just, every little fucking unique spot he has to draw every fucking time, and it's like so just like this will look cool, the audience will like this, and then like turn around, oh god, why did I do it like this? So at least luckily this character isn't around for 100 chapters, but
or at least not in this giant Lego form.
No, not a regular threat for that long, for sure.
Because like they came back at towards the end of the reading, but they're not like a combatant really at this point.
No, not at all. But anyway, Lyserg comes in after Horo wins. That's right. They're talking to Lyserg, and they get attacked at their hideaway, and sort of driving home the if you hurt others, they'll, cycle of hatred thing, and how Lyserg, even though he didn't kill, because I'm pretty sure he hasn't killed yet. Maybe I'm wrong, because
no, I think even in his fight with the X-Laws, like he didn't. And I think he's specific, and then they said here that like he didn't kill Bill because then that's how they were able to like track him down or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But like so even without killing, because like that comes up later too, where they're very insistent that like how like Ren and Yo wants to like save Hao, or Ren just wants to kill him basically, which we'll figure out how that goes in the next reading, but just sort of that continuing that conflict there. So this was another weird translation thing that I wanted to compare, because again I didn't look at the original Japanese, but as they're escaping, Yo wonders about Morphia, and Lyserg brings her out, and Yo says she's kind of hot, and I was like, that just doesn't seem like a Yo thing to say, and I checked, and the fan translation, how it translated it is it had him calling Lyserg cute, so it was just so odd that the lines weren't. They were completely different lines. Like, they're referring to two different characters and in two different ways. Like that. So I have no idea what the original Japanese might have said. Honestly, he might have just said kawaii. Like, which maybe it's like maybe he's calling. Yeah, he's saying like Lyserg's attitude is cute, or maybe he's calling Morphia cute. And they just translated it as hot for some reason. So I don't know. I just wanted to look it up because that's another one of those just weird little things that made me feel like I'm not sure that Yo. I don't know. I don't feel like Yo would say that, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, because I think it was also, wasn't it the first time you had like an observation like that with Yo? I think it was also with Lyserg.
With Jian, because he said in this translation he said whoa she's hot, and Anna was just covering his eyes, when I feel like, especially considering Anna isn't like one to shy away from physical violence, she'd smack him for that, right? And I checked in the fan translation, he said he was just pointing out how she wasn't wearing a shirt, which felt more like, because again, like Yo's not, I wouldn't say he's like sexless or like completely unaware compared to like Luffy or Goku or something, but he already has a fucking fiance. He's kind of not like that to other girls at all. But then the way they translate it here, it just like it just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't seem accurate to Yo. So that's always why when they get those lines, I go to check, because it's like, it doesn't fit with my vision of the character, I guess. So but this was their vision, so I don't know. But Ryu fights. I think he gets killed, and Sati brings him back. Because we finally get introduced to the Gandara.
I don't know. Like, I feel like these characters, or like what they represent, is like an important part to the whatever sort of, ideas the series is going for, but I don't know. I feel like I wasn't seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, because that's definitely one of the things I felt with, the series, because I feel like, because, yeah, it is, there's a lot of things you can point at and say, oh, it's kind of anticlimactic here, which, not in a bad way, because obviously I think that's, compared to Hunter x Hunter, right, where it's, that series uses anticlimaxes in this really interesting, deliberate way, but I understand that. But I feel like with Shaman King, maybe someone just needs to fucking explain it to me. Maybe I'm just missing something. And especially with these guys, they're, Buddhist inspired, but maybe it is more of an Indian Buddhism than a Japanese Buddhism, right? So it's well, I don't know what the differences are in a lot, necessarily. I know of some things, but I haven't really done a deep dive into it. So I'm just wondering, it's and obviously reincarnation and has been, we know about how, right? So yeah, maybe again, and they bring up some concepts like avidya, I think, that I couldn't explain off the top of my head, at least, right? So yeah, maybe I'm just missing some knowledge there that would help, because my Buddhism knowledge extends to things I looked up for some very specific reasons relating to Bleach. So, not Shaman King. So maybe it would help if I knew things that relate more specifically to Shaman King and, what ideas, because, one example for Bleach was the moon symbolism, which I talked about in my Aizen video and also my Should Be a 15 video. Shaman King doesn't seem to use that symbol, so I'd be able to point that out if they used it, but they didn't. So it's well, that my Buddhism knowledge isn't helping here. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of what's missing, where I just not able to get enough out of it on that front. And other than that, yeah, the art's good and there's some neat things with the characters, but it's just not clicking together in a way that makes me go yeah, Shaman King, So yeah. But yeah, Joko goes to see his friends, and they're all fucking dead, because it turns out he killed the fucking creator of the golem, and his kids are his sort of tools of vengeance in that way. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of like this stuff with him, sort of him being an example of what Lyserg. Well, he's almost more extreme than Lyserg in a way, because Lyserg hasn't killed yet.
Yeah.
But he's trying to reconcile that. Where Joko has killed in the past, and now he's gone to the other side, in the other direction, being much closer to Yo. But he still has that baggage, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in a way they're kind of, I don't know if inverted is the word, but yeah, that someone who has killed and is trying to atone for that, and then a character who hasn't killed but is out for revenge, and I do think that's fair. Yeah, that's interesting,
because he even apologizes, and well, sorry doesn't really doesn't help. It's kind of too late in that way, or at least that's not the way to because they do come around, but it's more from seeing the fault of their own actions than getting revenge necessarily. So because yeah, they kill Joko, they do get their revenge.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of his reaction to just he's got the blood shooting out of him, and he's still trying to kind of I don't know if he's trying to keep a smile because of the saving the world with comedy thing, or if it's just sort of the realization oh shit. But yeah, I think it's I don't know. It's not cool because he's dead, but it's I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, it does lead to some neat, good character stuff. So
yeah, yeah. I think, I guess, the way that the whole thing of like you said with the revenge and the if you hurt someone they'll hurt you back, kind of an eye for an eye thing where Joko killed, but then Yo shows up and is well, someone's got to end the cycle eventually, because you killed my friend, so I could kill you if I was to operate the way you do, but Yo is the person who will just take it on the chin and just try to be the better person and try to like help everybody. And he sort of does that with Hao as well, or he's trying to.
Yes. Also, so it's funny that I mentioned the moon symbolism earlier, because I was just like flipping through pages and I noticed there's a panel where Anna's talking about Yo actually and saying that he should get defeated and get come to full circle, and then like there's the panel with the pinwheel sort of like rotating in front of the moon, it looks like, and then in the next panel you have Ryu holding Joko and there's also the moon behind him. So I was just like, oh, is there meant to be that sort of thing with like, because it's a cycle of like learning and understanding. So like maybe Joko was at the point where it's like he knew but he didn't understand until he died, basically. So then that completed a circle with like understanding the cycle, basically. So I don't know, just a thought I had as like, wait a minute, I brought up this thing and it's like, wait, is it actually right there and I missed it earlier? But she's talking about Yo too, so I don't know.
I think there's also something interesting in like, I feel like there are a couple points in this reading, and like especially in this moment where the kid talks about like, oh, Joko must not have been like a good friend because you don't really seem to care, and like calls him heartless, and how you had pointed it out in a previous reading how Yo maybe was sort of like suppressing his emotions around Anna because she could read minds and trying not to, expose her to anything negative. And so like that kind of, I don't want to say getting flipped on its head, but like exploring another side of that or how other people view him. I don't know. I feel like it's interesting, but I don't know if I'm quite putting it all together.
Well, because, like, I don't know, you're just making me think about how... Well, because obviously, like, maintaining your own path is really important, and sort of, and in Yo's case, it's like, yeah, he does want to just sort of deal with things as they come, so if he lost his shit at every bad thing that happened, right, that wouldn't be, but then, of course, there's also that, like, like, oh, so you don't care? Like, it doesn't mean he doesn't care, it's just, like, maybe he's just processing things differently, or he's able to accept the parts in his life that he has no control in easier. Though of course it's also not that simple now that at this point resurrection is literally a mechanic of the world. So we like with Jian, so it's very it becomes a lot later. Like it makes the fucking Dragon Ball shenanigans look like pretty simple, things considered, because there's like, okay, if we bring back Namek, if we use the Namek balls to bring back the Earth balls, we can use the Earth ball, and it's like and this is like, okay, there's like, fuck, everyone's dead and we have to decide who to revive first so that we can revive everybody, and it's like, oh my god. So obviously at this point in the story death doesn't mean the same thing, but I was also gonna bring up I forgot what it was, never mind, it was something about the emotions, but I don't remember what.
Well, I was going to say, like, regarding the whole, the way that death is kind of implemented, I do like how they, because, like, in Dragon Ball Z, they do the whole, that section of the story, I should say. We didn't cover the end. I've done too much working on the Shounen movie video, so now I'm thinking in terms of anime. But, like, in, like, the Namek arc, where, the characters start, like that mechanic of the Saiyans get stronger every time they almost die.
Yes, the Zenkai, yeah.
And like, I don't know, it feels like it's kind of similar to that, but I don't like, I don't know, it feels like here they're doing more with it thematically, and like I lost that train of thought, but like,
well, there's even Jian, I think it's interesting when series like push their mechanics to the limit. And it's like, yeah, they've established that in the first reading, I'm pretty sure they established that closeness to death gives you power. So it's like, okay, so they introduced Jian, who is literally, she's constantly in a state close to death through her torture, basically, and she's incredibly powerful for it. And now you have straight up like regular death and rebirth, or maybe not rebirth, but like, they're being brought back to life, right? So it's like very deliberately, like Sati's killing, or like when Sati's killing them so she can bring them back, basically.
Yeah.
Right? So it's taking those mechanics and pushing them as far as they can go, which is really cool.
Yeah, and the way it kind of ties into like the development of the characters, because like you had mentioned, even from early on when Yo goes into the cave, like it's a kind of like death of like it I keep getting the thoughts and I'm losing them halfway.
Or death of, well, because like I guess trying to think of like what, you know, because he was all shaken up from his loss to Faust, I'm pretty sure. So by going into the cave and being reduced to like just himself, he had to like, he basically broke himself down and rebuilt himself, right? And into like his more chill form, and then that helped him by, after being shaken, by resolving himself onto like who he is, he fought Ren and was able to do to Ren what Faust had done to him and shake him, right? So, and then of course then you follow that up with the whole Tao arc where Ren has to have his resolve like broken down and rebuilt, that basically. So I guess I hadn't thought about how it is such a regular occurrence for these characters to be broken down and built back up basically through not just death but also just like loss. And it's very
I
common.
Also just had like a realization that it's kind of an experience I've had, because like while we've been going through Shaman King, I also started watching the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and I think I got tripped up a second ago because I was about to talk about like the shape of the soul, because like Shaman King also, you know, puts heavy emphasis on like the soul, and so like I don't know if Shaman King is like an inspiration on Jujutsu Kaisen, but I feel like just the way that they both kind of use the soul, but I feel like I'm gonna say something that I'm actually talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and not Shaman King.
I'll hopefully catch you on that, because it did. No, you're right. It did come up recently in season 2 with Mahito and Geto's powers work differently because they have different perspectives on the soul, which I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Oh, but I know in Shaman King, there's the guy where like the girls, like the Oyamada company guy, where like the one girl goes to use some kind of power, and he's like, oh, well, you know, that would normally work on people who believe in the soul or something like that.
Oh, you're right. That is similar, because there is the sense of like your own perspective is what's important. You know what? Another, like, so this is interesting because so as far as Jujutsu Kaisen's influences, I mostly remember Bleach and Hunter x Hunter, because the author literally had an interview with Kubo, and he mentioned Bleach as an influence, and Kubo was like, "Don't you mean Hunter x Hunter?" And he's like, "Well, or I don't know actually the Jujutsu Kaisen author's gender, but they were like, yeah, but also Bleach," or like I'm paraphrasing, like, but it was a funny exchange, because like whenever they describe the powers in Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm like, it's like Nen, like it's hard for me to, and that's not a diss against Jujutsu Kaisen. It's just very, you know, clear. But Nen also has this sort of like perspective and person is really important. Like I was thinking about with the Dark Continent, the Kurapika's lie detector, right? Like it only works on people who know they're lying. So if their memories have been altered, they don't know that they're lying, right? So you have a similar example of like, it's the perspective of the individual. So like, the one guy doesn't believe in souls, so he's immune to oversoul powers that affect the soul, right? And again, we have Mahito and Geto who, you know, their powers affect the souls differently because they have different perspectives on what the soul is. So it's I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. Because
the other connection I feel like.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the other connection I feel like I could make is the sort of reliance on spirits, and kind of like in Shaman King, you know, they're like these mediums through which, you know, the oversoul and things like that. And like in Jujutsu Kaisen, they also, like, some people work like in conjunction with different I forget the term they use, but I don't think it's just spirits.
Shikigami? No.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, like do you mean like Fushigoro's, like, he has a dog and an elephant? Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Because that is a now I'm wondering, because I know that's like a thing, because I think there's some characters in Ayakashi Triangle that also use Shikigami, but they're in a very different form, or maybe I'm mixing terms up, but I don't know. It's a whole okay, but what I was gonna say about Shaman King that's interesting is because it was being written at the same time as Yu Yu Hakusho. Like I'm kind of,
or you mean Hunter x Hunter?
Like, because Hunter x Hunter. Fuck. Why, wow, my brain just like, it went to Togashi, but it went a way that we have not been talking about at all this whole discussion. So it's like, where the fuck did Yu Yu Hakusho come from? Like, I literally don't even remember thinking it. It just came out of my mouth. I meant Hunter x Hunter, but like, because we were talking about comparing the rescue arc with Ren to the Zoldyck, and like, well, when did these come out relative to each other? Because it's just so interesting that these series came out at so close to the same time, and there are like various commonalities between them. So like I've also mentioned like comparing it, especially earlier on, to like One Piece ideologically, and how they're kind of like different in notable ways. And I was like, oh yeah, but these authors literally knew each other. So I don't know. It's it's a neat manga.
Yeah, I didn't mean to turn this into like a Jujutsu Kaisen side tangent, but like just the fact that I was going through both at the same time and kind of similar ideas coming up, but executed in very different ways. Maybe there's a potential video in there somewhere if I maybe someone else can pick up on that.
No, I mean it's definitely like, if you're gonna connect the things that you're thinking of together. Like I've been I've talked about these. I've been writing a video for Kaiji and a video for Danganronpa, and so like I've been thinking about both of those at this, and they also kind of explore different takes on similar like societal concerns in Japan. So it's like it's hard not to think about them both in similar ways, and it's just like, yeah, you're gonna connect. Or another example that actually led to a point in the video is I was working on my video on the one you edited, the Marines video, and some of my points about Garp in that video, about talking about he's a man who valued peace, I don't know how it happened, but I was watching like Gatchaman Crowds, which also sort of deals with like the main character literally joins this group, and she's this sort of like combative element that like challenges what the group is doing, and I realized that, if Garp was in the show, he'd be an antagonist because he values peace. And then I sort of like had that thought, and I applied that back to One Piece, and I like, Gatchaman Crowds helped Garp characters click for me, or helped Garp's character click for me, and it's like, because that's just having other ideas from other sources and seeing similarities and differences can help ideas click into place. Like, like we just said, it's like you bringing up Jujutsu Kaisen made me think of Hunter x Hunter, and it's like, oh yeah, all these series are kind of doing a similar thing with their perspective tapping into the powers. So it's like, hey, if something interesting comes out of it, then that's cool, right? Anyway, what I've been trying to say for the last, it's just in my, because I'm at the page where Ryu's holding Joko, and I'm just like, why does Tokugaru look like a thumb? I forgot why he's just a thumb. Like, he's literally shaped like a hand, and it's I don't it's really funny. And she's just been staring at me as a thumb man for the last like 5 minutes as we've been talking about this. So I just had to get that off my chest. Nope, never mind. Huh. Okay. It's not okay, because I was looking at the golem, because the golem has a design on his front.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Kabbalah. That is not right. That's a different one. So I don't remember which one this is, because I'm pretty sure it's one of the things that's in the very start of the Evangelion OP. I'm pretty sure we see that symbol or something, probably what it's based on, but I don't know what it is right now. I could be also completely wrong, but I feel like I've seen that sort of like tree branching symbol before. I just can't place it right now. And I could probably just look up the name she's saying when she's controlling the golem, actually, but I don't want to do that right now. We're talking. But yeah, Yo goes up with the golem, and Mick's pissed off, and Yo sort of points out that, like, hey, Joko is my friend, and there's a part of me that wouldn't mind letting that fucking jaguar maul you to death if he could, but he also is like, it basically tells him that, like, the desire for vengeance, is blinding. And I don't know, I like the way it comes out into the fight, where it's like, because obviously he's doing it for his dad, and he wants his sister to get her emotions back, but it's like his dad is also consumed by vengeance, and part of the reason that his sister's emotions are locked off is because, like, she's not surrounded, like it's just the anger that's coming from her family, basically. So it was nice. I liked it.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't think of it like that, like connecting the stuff with Joko to, like, these kids being like possessed by revenge in part because like, you know, the whole thing with like the spirit of their father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, no, and because that especially like I until you brought in Joko into the conversation, I was like, oh right, yeah, he was surrounded by someone who had a different emotion, like because his fellow like gang members, they were all sort of had the same attitude. Where Olena, I think the who he goes to hell and meets again, like he brought something different into Joko's life and helped him enjoy it more, and more emotions than just like anger and hate. Like I guess that's what helped end the cycle of hatred for Joko. So which also goes back to Yo and how he doesn't fight. Yo never fights with hatred except the one time against Faust, and that was he fucked up. That was bad, right? So yeah, cool. It's funny how I'm like, yeah, I don't think this manga is clicking for me, and now I'm talking about it, it's like, no, I'm starting to understand it better. So
those are the best Nen Show discussions where like over the course of the podcast, it's like, oh, huh.
So yeah, in hell, Joko has to ascend higher in the Great Spirit to atone, basically. So because even if he's revived, he has to forgive himself first for what he's done. Yo's wounded. I like what he does with he talks about with Amidamaru, where it's like, you know, how the powers of shamans aren't just they're beyond magic, and he realizes that like, well, if it's, you know, the mind and will, you know, I should just be able to heal myself. Like he just figures like, yeah, this is something that probably all shamans could do, and you know, I don't know, again, I like that exploration of the mechanics and powers and stuff.
Yeah.
Then, because the situation can't possibly get any worse, Hao and all of his fucking minions come in.
I did kind of like their interaction where Yo is like, why are you here? And Hao is just like, don't you ever go on aimless walks? Because he's just so, like, I don't know, so powerful and just like, yeah, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, Yo tries to, you know, obviously Hao values his life, so it gets like little, you know, these fights for a bit, and then everyone else comes in. Lyserg sort of talks about how like, you know, he brought help because even though he still believes that like obviously he's planning on killing Hao, he still wants to look down Yo's path and sort of understand his friend better. Even if they have like their ideological disagreement, which is cool. Yeah, good boy. And of course, Hao talks about sort of like he's never understood friendship, because he's always been powerful and alone. Not with the human being, because obviously Masamune was like the one exception, but that didn't go well. Oh yeah, I guess there's also I did not remember the kid's name. I'm sorry. Ludzev, there it is. That's right. I saw it right in front of me. But you know, Yo's talking about him and his dad and how like, you know, because they find out that his dad is possessing the daughter and to control the golem, so he's maybe not the best guy. But Yo's like, hey, you know, people who can't see ghosts aren't all bad, but that also doesn't mean they're all good either. And then like, basically frames the like. I like how he frames GN, like, because there's like, oh my fucking god, it's just Shin Megami Tensei, which I just realized because I just started the second one this morning, because he frames the X laws are in a lawful society, lawbreakers are punished. In a lawless society, the law can't protect you. So like you have, you know, obviously GN is all about order and killing, you know, the people who break the law basically. Where Hao is chaotic. And but he's also so incredibly powerful that basically he becomes law in a sense, like he's the rules.
Yeah.
But then they also explain later that Gandhara is they're neutral, so it's like fuck, law, chaos, and neutrality. Those are your three options in a given Shin Megami Tensei playthrough. So I was just like, oh, okay, because yeah, I would definitely say that like Jian is a good soul. But we can see that the X laws are as a whole have definitely like leaned towards evil, for sure. Like good intent leads to like, you know, they're ultimate they're kind of fucked up. Where Hal obviously has no reservations. Like yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. So yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought of the conflict that way, even though it's like literally right there. But yeah, how being reminded of Masamune, he decides to give up on the golem and just goes to finish his walk, think for a bit. One of those anticlimaxes. But yeah, Yo passes out, hands things off to his comrades, while the golem needs more mana, so it tries to eat them all. But yeah, Ludzev's words aren't able to get through to his dad, so Joko comes in for the save, mastering the winds of laughter, as he puts it. Oh yeah, apparently Mikihisa was friends with Munzer, Camel Munzer, this doctor man.
He sure was.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the joke where Manta and Anna are talking, and she's just like, "You're the reincarnated soul of Mantamune," and it's like just kidding.
My shit for a second because I thought it was real, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And it's like that doesn't make. And she's even like, "No, that doesn't make sense. You were literally alive when he died, or when he." This shit happened, so it's like, oh wait, no, but it's like, yeah, there's still the connection. They are kind of similar in some ways, which might be why Yo connected to him. And Anna also says that she can't read minds anymore.
Yeah,
which I don't know if that was stated before. But yeah, interesting. Because like I guess once Anna connected to Yo, truly she lost that ability that had caused her so much trouble. Where Hao has the closest person he connected to was Masamune, and he was betrayed by him. So he's never, he's never had a true friend necessarily. So,
Oh, Joko's power in this fight is pretty cool. The whole like invisible Machu Picchu thing.
Yeah, and he's got the spirit to work with.
I think I also like the general kind of trope of like, it happens in Kill la Kill 2, where, like, a character loses their sight, and then, like, that heightens the rest of their senses.
Yeah. Also, I was just... I forgot about this, because when he runs into the Olmec statue, and this is, like, the second time he was compared visually to a character that has large lips, but he doesn't have large lips in this release. So it's like, because Ryu also did it with his friend, and it's just like, yeah, okay. Just, it is what it is. But yeah, Joko remembers sort of being, because, he wasn't happy when he was full of hatred and anger. So he's gonna, as he says it, he's here to save the soul that he killed, basically. So, more than just saying sorry, he's, gone further beyond, and yeah, he gets the fucking coat, the Jaguar armor, basically. And then Anna just comes in and just fucking stops the light, because Anna's the strongest. And they're like, there's a big panel of just like, what? Yo's just dead still, he's unconscious. And then yeah, the scientist is like, all right, I'm going. Take care of my kids. I've been a bad father. I give up. And Anna's like, no. We're keeping the golem, and I'm going to use my abilities as an otako or otako to, or I think that was the right word, to
Itako?
Keep you bound to earth. Itako, thank you. Oh wow, yeah. I don't know what I said. I hope it wasn't a bad word.
Otaku. That's not what you said, but
yeah, it was. Yeah, no. It's like taco is octopus, so what I don't know what an otako is. But yeah, and he's just like they're in their inn, and the fucking Dr. Munzer is just like kneeling there like I guess I'm here now. And yeah, Joko's not able to make Ludzev's sister laugh, but at all the antics, she does smile because yay, she's being surrounded by something that isn't just anger and hate. Just a little smile.
Yeah.
I like the pages at the start of chapter 208 where it shows that 2-page spread earlier of all the shamans in the shaman fight.
Yeah.
And then they're all like half of them are fucking out. They're all gone. And it's just like, oh fuck. but also there's that retroactive like, hey, these are these characters we knew from the they were there from the beginning, and now it's like, oh, I recognize them now. Like I see Blockhen and the Nile team, and obviously like the survivors are very recognizable now, because I think basically all of them have at least done something. Like even like the three old ladies, they had the little fight with the house crew, those three ladies. So it's like, oh yeah. But yeah, the Patch Tribe is talking about what Hal's been up to. Silva's in prison because he's a malcontent.
I'm also realizing that the way that they translate Gandhara is not consistent.
You know what? I think you're right, because I looked at my notes and I was like, oh, sometimes I wrote it this way and sometimes I wrote it another way, and I'm like,
yeah, because like I see a page in chapter 208 where it says Gandala.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure which would be accurate. Because again, it's like I said, it's a Buddhist term. So
yeah,
maybe I guess if they changed it, I feel like they would correct it for a reason. So maybe it is like I think Gandala was the second one. So
yeah,
unless they went back and forth, which I hope they didn't. So yeah, then Opacho comes in while they're hanging out, and I do appreciate like Ryu. He's a little relatable when he's like, oh, something cute. So because I like cute things. He gets his ass beat by the little sheep, but it is what it is.
I'm having what's the character's name from Hitman Reborn?
Oh yeah, fucking Reborn.
I was thinking the cow one.
Oh, Lambo. Okay.
Right.
I was about to say, like, hold on. Did you just forget the character name of the like, who's that one guy in the orange jumpsuit from Naruto again? Like, wait, okay, no, Lambo. Now I understand. That makes sense. Because Reborn also does all the outfits and stuff. So, oh yeah. Also, I think because Opacho says, catch me, I do first errand. I'm pretty sure that's like a young child doing the first errand. Like I watched I actually watched that the one season of that show, Hajimete no I forgot what it's called.
Okay. Yeah. I remember you bringing that up before.
Yeah, where they basically it's apparently it's I guess it's not an abnormal thing to do but just to have kids, give them money and have them go to the store and do an errand completely on their own, so that they can, and in the show they're being watched. There's a bunch of video cameras. It's really funny when they notice too, because it's like or talk to one of the staff or camera people who's like pretending to not know what's going on, and they like I don't know, but yeah, I just realized like the way that specifically Obacho says first errand is like, oh yeah, because it's they're a young child, so it's like, oh yeah, how sent Opacho on their first errand. So I don't actually know whether Opacho's a guy or a girl. I forget if it was stated. But yeah, Opacho ends up just hanging out and just like, yep, they got one of Hao's minions there just chilling with soy sauce. And then there's the third party straight man gag.
I like the immediate, like, you turn the page, and, like, the first panel is they're just beating the shit out of him. Or they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just... and, yeah, Yo and Anna are just... They don't... It's normal. They're just going into a normal conversation.
He's just so proud of his joke, and Ren is just not here for it.
Ren hates comedy. But,
oh, speaking of funny things, it hasn't come up yet, I don't think, but whenever, what's his name? The guy with the glasses, when he's drawn and
Marco?
it's just, Marco, when it's just his glasses, I like details like that.
Oh, see, because you brought up Marco, I was just going to mention how I like the joke, because he's talking to Lyserg after the fallout of the last bit, basically, and he adjusts his glasses so hard they just explode.
Yeah.
Like it's such a because obviously like the glasses boy, they adjust their glasses or they got their fingers on their glass, and he's just like it's just glass everywhere, and it's like, oh god. And of course, I don't know, it's funny. But yeah, Amidamaru talks with Yo a little bit, and even though he's not in the competition, he does know he doesn't want to quit. So which starts up our next little arc of him going to the X-Laws to negotiate his return. And then we find out something I completely forgot, despite having read this manga before. But I don't know how to pronounce his name. Lucist. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like maybe Lucist because it's like kind of like Lucas, but I don't know that guy. He's the fucking original creator of the X-Laws.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a whole thing that I'm a little. Maybe we'll talk through it and I'll be like, okay, I see what they're doing, but it's a little like. I don't know.
Well, I also like before that I know the chapter where Yo and Amidamaru are kind of talking about like, well, what do you want to do? And just the whole, and Anna had even said like, well, what do you want to do? Like, follow your heart kind of thing. And just that like, yeah, he kind of went back on his resolve to, like, when he threw away his shot at the shaman fight, and then because like he was always doing it for other people and not really like, well, what does Yo want, and that he's just it's cool to see that kind of like emotion from him when he's usually like very reserved.
And I guess that also because I mentioned last time that he's reserved himself for Anna's sake in some ways, so it's like he's always thinking about other people, right? So Amidamaru is like, what do you want, so yeah, that's good.
And also a good moment with Yo and Anna, just like kind of adding on to that.
No dessert for you tonight.
And I like the panels where they're kind of just silhouettes against the sun, and then like Amidamaru is just a little floating chibi head and is like, oh, I gotta look away. I can't.
Also, something I thought of because you mentioned the panel, and it's there with Marco being reduced to glasses.
Yeah.
And I just imagine like, well, what if you put a pair of glasses on a pineapple? It's double Marco. So, yeah. And he wears glasses too, come to think of it. So yeah, or at least he did in Wano. So,
the glasses fruit.
Oh god, I don't even know what that would be. Like, it would be a zone, obviously. He'd turn into glasses. But anyway, Yo comes in, he's prepared to fight. And he completely like one on like what 8 like tussles with the X-Laws and is able to hold him at bay and even start taking out the angels. Like, goddamn. Oh yeah, maybe this is. We brought up Shikigami earlier, and it's like, oh, maybe I was thinking because he's like, yeah, I brought my dad Shikigami or Shigaraki or yeah. He said Shigaraki and Imari. Maybe I don't. Okay, maybe I misread it. Never mind. I'm just silly. But yeah, Marco cannot take this disrespect and absolutely fucking loses it. And Yo's like, what the fuck is your problem? Aren't you supposed to be the leader?
There's just a character named Dingbat.
Yeah, I kept once every time I read it, I was like, because again, the fucking names that some of these authors pick are just like, yeah, maybe does he know what Dingbat can mean in English to an English speaker because it's it's something else. But yeah, Lucas points out Yo's trick and enters the fight himself. And yeah, they sort of frame him as like, he's the parent figure to Marco. What I'm not sure about is like, because like the outfit change, his outfit change, like it's just it was weird. Where it's like I'm trying to bury the name Pee-wee, but also I still wear the shorts that I used to wear. And Yo's like, what the fuck? And Amidamaru's like, what's going on? This isn't going as planned. It's just like, it is thematically relevant to the fight, but also it's a little, I don't know, maybe a little much for me. And Lucas also has a very silly outfit, which is like, okay, yeah, it's, I don't know. him sort of being trapped in his childhood, represented by also wearing the clothes of his childhood, is like, I'm not sure if I'm down for that. So
I was trying to think of what other series I knew that did like the gaining power or like power being attributed to kind of like clothing, and then I remembered it was Ayakashi Triangle.
Oh yeah, the Fundoshi. That's right. I thought you were gonna mention Kill la Kill because you also just watched that, and it's like, but that's cheating. That's different. That's completely different. It's literally superpowered clothing in that series. But
I know one thing I noticed in this art style. I don't know if it was a detail from the beginning and I just didn't notice it, or if it was a more like as the series has kind of gone on. But the way that like Lyserg's hair is drawn, and I think it's also with the girl with Ponchi and Conchi. I don't remember her name.
Tamo?
Yeah. How like the way that their hair is almost kind of like, I mean, it's a black and white manga, but you know, to imply kind of like shading.
Yeah, there's
I just feel like
almost.
Yeah, like the way it looks like shiny. Like I'm sure Lyserg's hair isn't white in color, but like just the white on white shine, I feel like just looks, I don't know, it always threw me off.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I feel like to me it just makes their hair look like greasy in this black and white.
Oh no. Because like I was comparing it to Yo, and Yo also has like white drawn on his black hair because it does, you know, hair does have a shine
and the
to
same Ren has that as well.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to it before literally right now, so
like when it's black and white, I think it works, and like, but I don't know why like the white on white, like they're just these little patches. It just, I don't know. It just looks strange to me.
Marco doesn't seem to have it in comparison, and he also has light colored hair. Like it is specifically Lyserg who's drawn that way. It seems. At least that I'll keep an eye out because I just didn't notice it. But yeah, Lucas wants to kill Jian.
I wonder if he even like. Oh no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like Lyserg's line about how like winning is being happy with yourself, basically. Like, you know, again, maintaining your own path and being able to like not do anything you regret, I guess. But what were you gonna say?
No, it wasn't important.
Oh, unfortunate.
It was more on like the hair tangent, and I'm like, I don't think that's really necessary. Just like if maybe, because like I could just be entirely wrong, and the character could have been drawn like that the whole time. But I don't know if maybe it's possible that like this maybe would have been like after the anime had been airing, and so you know, with her, I don't know. Probably not.
Because yeah, I know how the first anime ends. Because I guess I could spoil it because like we're already I'm pretty sure we're past the point of the manga where it would happen, but I'm pretty sure there's just a final match between Funbari Hot Springs and Hoshigumi, Hao's team, and Yo uses the power of friendship to kill Hao, I guess. That's what because it sound, from what I remember the discussion, it was pointed out that like that doesn't actually solve the problem because obviously like from what we've seen in the manga, that, you know, it's Yo killing Hao is literally what he doesn't want to do. And like he reincarnate, he's been killed the last 2 times, like 500 and 1,000 years ago. Like killing him is just outsourcing the problem to the future, basically. So you know, it's probably not going to be the ideal way to bring him down. So you know, that's all I remember from the first anime. So yeah. But yeah, I don't really know how it's handled because I haven't seen it. Relevant to us, I guess, is there's the remix track where we see what everyone does on YouTube, basically, where it's like, oh, idiot YouTubers. So I don't know, maybe laugh a little.
The eye patch.
Yes, that one again, where it's just like, and you see like some of them are more successful than others. You know, Ryu has a rant that's only like 7 views.
I also
wearing cute outfits has 800,000 views. So what were you gonna say?
Well, I know there was also like just about the technology. Like there was also a point later in this reading where they like kind of have like a fourth wall break where they talk about the Oracle pagers and like, oh, they have like cell phones now. Just the passage of time.
But yeah, Yo and Lyserg interfere so that they can stop Lucas from trying to kill Jian. Oh yeah, that's right. They use the illusory Oversoul to trick Lucas so that they can stop him, basically.
I got distracted looking at all the YouTube things. Like, one of them was like gross out warning measuring Ren's cowlick. Just the big point on his hair.
Okay, yeah. Why is it a gross out warning? What the fuck happens in that video? But yeah, I was just getting into the end of the whenever you're finished with that, I was just getting into the end of the X-Laws conflict. Which yeah, I guess this really is like the end of the X-Laws in the story, pretty much. Like, not, they're still around, of course, but it definitely feels like as an organization they're functionally like done with.
Yeah.
The angels are cars, apparently. That's their oversoul medium is very specific models of car. And it's like, okay, interesting choice.
I love Revolution. I messed it up.
I know what you were going for, though. Yes,
Utena.
The movie, yes, for sure. Everyone's a car.
I only had one chance to tell the joke, and I ruined it.
It got across, at least to me, because once you said revolution, I was like, yeah, and there we go. Yeah, we get the backstory where they were CEOs, Marco was the CEO, and then he lost everything, and then went into vengeance and started the X-Laws and gathered other people. But yeah, Jian, who was sort of Marco's, because Lucas raised Marco, and that he ended up going to Hao, but Marco raised Jian, and she is pure and precious and good.
And they have more mouths to feed at the inn.
Yep. That's a good gag. Like, where it's just like, yeah, you got the X-Laws, you got Hao's fucking minions. Wonderful. Oh yeah. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, yeah. Because you mentioned the hair, and it's like, yeah, only Tamao and Lyserg have it here for light-haired characters. Horror doesn't. Anna doesn't. Manta doesn't. Jian doesn't. It's not drawn this. She has some like shading to her hair, but it's the opposite. It's like dark shading with extra lines, not like light shading like the blocks that Lyserg and Tamao have. So
yeah.
Yeah, just something. Yeah, I was just following up with that just because I saw it. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. There's on the next set of pages. There's Anna does have it as well. So maybe he's always been doing it, and we just didn't notice. And it's like and now it's become a hyperfixation.
No.
But yeah, so that then they come up with their plan about like, yeah, Hao's gonna win the fight. So and they're just gonna take care of it afterwards at the in the next phase of the tournament.
Oh, I totally forgot about this fight.
Which fight?
The next Team Ren one.
Right. Yeah.
Like, my brain is now just jumping to the fight at the end of the reading, because I like that one.
But yeah, the boys hang out in a bath, hot spring, talking about their eventual fight with Yo. And then also, so like, we haven't had the popularity polls, but they did get referenced because like the Radim mentions that he only came 71st in the popularity poll, but I'm gonna keep announcing anyway.
Right.
So it did make me think like, oh yeah, this release doesn't have the popularity polls, so we don't know who's the most popular boy in the manga, who's the most popular girl, who's the most popular character, because it's like I'm really not sure, because like part of me, I feel like Anna or Yo would be the most like reasonable choices. But is that what the fans in Japan think, or is that just what I think? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm now frantically trying to, like, Google it.
Frantically.
I'm not having much luck. It's also, like, I don't know how many there are. Like, was there just one? I mean, this is a long manga, so...
It easily could have had several. Like, fucking... I'm pretty sure it's not that much shorter than Hitman Reborn, and Hitman Reborn had so many popularity polls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunate.
I see one that's like, or is this a 20th anniversary thing? Oh, I think that's what that is. So I have no idea.
So that would have been after the manga was done. So, oh well. But yeah, we get to fight Team Ren versus the Wisdom Kings, where we learn some more mechanics about the mana, where since they're a neutral, they also neutralize oversouls. Oh yeah, and especially like the way that the 4 teams in the gondola where are named after like different types of Buddha. It's like this is definitely where my like limited Buddhism knowledge is hindering me a little bit, maybe. But I guess I could have looked it up, but I did not feel like it. So
I know that they break it into the 4 categories, and like the one I can pick up on is like the Bodhisattva. I don't know. But the one that Netero uses, which is like training for enlightenment, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess they do explain him there, but like, yeah, because I don't know. I know that they established that like Team Ren is also neutral, which at least on the Law Chaos bend, I definitely feel like Yo is also neutral. So yeah. But they bring up more. They bring up good and evil directly, not law and chaos, which is what I was talking about earlier with like How versus How and the X laws. But yeah, Ren's able to advance his oversoul, and how does he? Oh yeah, he uses lightning now.
Yeah,
because it comes up later with the. Yo as well, because Yo is also able to use the neutralization, but neutralization can't counteract nature. It can stop mana and oversouls, but it can't stop like Horror's ice or Ren's lightning. So
I'm seeing the Hiei to Sasuke pipeline here. Like Ren has the short and edginess of Hiei, but has like the lightning and like the will that like that I don't know. I just thought it'd be a funny thing to say.
No, I understand. Though I'm sure timeline wise, I'm pretty sure Sasuke might have because Naruto started in 1999, but I still think Sasuke might have had the Chidori by the time this chapter came out.
Oh, that's true. Still, Naruto did start that early.
But now that you mention it, like even that said. Like, you have Sasuke, Ren, and Killua as far as, like, edgy main character boys who use lightning. Like, that seems like that is... Oh, wait, hold on. Do all of those... No, I'm pretty sure Joko is the wind one, right? And Yo is earth? Or metal, I think they brought up. Well, metal would be earth, I guess, because I don't think they have a metal spirit. Because they're, like, the 5 warriors, they end off talking about, like, oh, how has there's the 5 spirits. Which... I forget if they line up perfectly or not. Well, basically the reason I thought about it is because I was thinking about how there's Fujin and Raijin, the wind god and the lightning god, which they're basically like so Naruto uses that motif with Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto's wind and Sasuke is lightning. So another series that uses that motif is Hajime no Ippo, where the main character Ippo is called Fujin, Wind God, because he has certain techniques that like the Dempsey roll is kind of like I think he's likened to wind, where Miyata he has these lightning fast counters, so he's the Raijin, and it's like so I was wondering if like maybe the commonality with the lightning is like but then I couldn't tie like Gon or Yo to wind basically, so it's only this was just Naruto, so I don't know. I was just trying to see if is this why lightning is such a commonality here, but never mind. But yeah, Ren wins his one-on-one. Then Joko goes in and gets impaled brutally. This dude just keeps getting horrifically injured. Oh yeah, and then you get Horohoro's moment where it's like when they talk about names having power and how like Horohoro's real name is what was it, the wolf. It was like it was a specific word with like heat, cold that is so cold it feels like heat, basically for a wolf. Well, basically, I remembered it came up in Golden Kamui as well, which is also a manga that deals with Ainu culture. And apparently, at least according, I mean, the manga seems like there was a lot of research done in it. And so one aspect of Ainu culture regarding names is that they actually name children like dirty and unwanted things. Like having a child named Poop wouldn't be too abnormal, because the reason being that like so that like the forces of nature don't take them or kill them, basically. Like until they're old enough, they're protected by having a name that is undesirable, basically. Uh-huh. So yeah, like, and seeing Horo that click with like, oh yeah, names having power, with Horo having this like hidden name that within this hidden power, like that, I don't know. Just another connection to him being Ainu that I would never have gotten 10 years ago whenever this manga. But yep, Sati has her 5 warriors now.
I do like the 5 warriors and tying it to like the elements and stuff, and kind of like pulling back or bringing back the like how that integrates with the nature sort of elements.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I feel like that was a thread I was really interested in, that I feel like in this reading isn't, at least in like the first chunk of it, I don't think really, unless there's something more with like the tying into like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the Buddhism and stuff like that, or maybe it's like just because it's not outright mentioned with the elements doesn't mean that it doesn't factor in somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, I feel, because I guess, yeah, we'll see, because no, I hadn't thought about the 5 elements in regards to nature, because no, that is fair, because that, like, yeah, that was something you were talking about, or we were talking about back at the start especially, but yeah. But anyway, with that fight, I think this is where it gets really wild, because, well, first you get the fights with the old ladies and the Hanagumi, the girls, and they are pissed off. Oh yeah, we see a brief page with Hao's mother, who he seems to miss.
Oh yeah, and then the kind of reaction to like when the X-Law people are kind of trying to hunt him down, and how spotting the guy and just like, you saw something you weren't supposed to see. It's interesting.
Yeah, he's how scary. That could be read 2 ways, as an HOW scary or HAHO or HOA scary, but it works both ways. So, but yeah, Sati fights Yo, and yeah, Hao talks about sort of his ideals, where he just feels like humans love conflict naturally, which probably ties into his desire to get rid of humans and instead, right? That's the thing, right? He wants everyone to be a shaman, basically. Only humans, no humans. I'm not mistaking that for something else, right? I feel like it's been a while since that's been brought up.
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Well, because there's also something kind of like that in Jujutsu Kaisen, and I was doing what you thought you might have been doing earlier.
Oh,
mixing
yeah.
stuff up. Because it's like, well, yeah, there's a character in Jujutsu Kaisen who wants people to only be, get rid of all the humans and only have the fucking the sorcerers. And I'm like, wait, hold on. That's a thing in Shaman King too, right? But unfortunate.
I don't know. There's a lot in this reading, and I feel like
yeah,
it's probably some things I'm forgetting.
Oh yeah, there's also the way they talk about how they basically hit him with a fucking light cannon from space, a laser beam from space, because he's so fucking powerful, and he fucking just shrugs it off. He's such a shit. Yeah, see, this is where I really felt like I wondered, like, again, maybe the author's health was causing issues, because, like, Sati's like, okay, yo, we're gonna fight. But then she's like, oh no, shit's getting real. I gotta just kill you immediately so you can go to hell and get stronger.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like, maybe there was a plan change there somewhere. But again, not a negative thing, but it's just like, yeah, the author's had health issues, like, it's fucking got to deal with that shit somehow. So But yeah, Yo is in hell. He talks to the demon, who's changed since he was sent to hell himself. And he meets his ancestor, the one who killed Hao, Yoken. I wonder what the kanji, because I didn't look him up obviously, but like obviously he has Yo in his name, spelled the same way as Yo, but also Ken, which can mean sword. So like, you know, I'm wondering, I don't know, I just hadn't thought about that in regards to, you know, because like he's the one who killed Hao. He's literally like shares the name with Yo, and Matamune was obviously pretty regretful that they couldn't do more, you know, like because Yo saved Anna, but he couldn't save Hao. So maybe like the fact that he's like Yo plus sword is like, you know, he's that ties into how, you know, he also couldn't save Hao. He just killed him. So because I think, don't they even mention that he was also Hao's brother? Or how was he related to Hao? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, did that come up with Yoken?
I'm looking through as I'm reading it because he was also, you know, he was Asakura 1,000 years ago, so he would have been related to him in some way. But I'm trying to remember exactly what the connection was. But yeah, Yo figures out his white swan oversoul. There's a little bit of some other stuff like Ryu talking with Sati about the shit with hell and everything. And then Yo having a heart-to-heart with Yoken after their fight. I like when he's like, "Hey, Yo, do you have any children?" And he just fucking blushes. Well, because, like, see, I don't know how the timeline actually works out, but I do remember, it was in the earlier reading, where it's, like, right before the shaman fight, they sleep, in the same room, and I remember the other translation said, I'm pretty sure it actually translated as, like, do you want to sleep together, which could be taken one of two ways, and I don't know how the timeline works out with Shaman King Flowers, but they maybe have a child. So I don't know. Because
I know that Shaman King also kind of takes place over the course of is it years? Because like there's a lot of times where they're training for months, but it just happens.
Yeah, I don't.
Like a
yeah,
flash.
no, I don't know how the timeline works. Right, like I said, but I definitely remember that being a thought. I don't know if it was one that I came up with last time I read it, or when I just hearing discussions of it, but you know, because I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how the series ends. But I just his reaction is still really good. But yeah, Yoken doesn't mention, at least not that I've seen, his exact relationship with Hao. So, and he also talks about how the star symbol that Hao uses is similar to the Asakura family crest, so it's like there's still some feeling in his heart towards the Asakura family, and he's like, hey, maybe you're the one who can change his heart. And then he fucking dies, but not really. Which is like, yeah, I mean, again, it's like, you know, I'm not really fussed about death fake-outs. We haven't been for a long time, I feel like. But it's because it's just such a commonality with the medium. It's like, at a certain, or at least with the you know, it's, yeah, but, he's a fucking ghost. He's already dead. And at this point, like, we, you know, death and life don't mean... Destruction of the soul is more important, I would say, as far as that goes. Like, with Hao or the golem consuming souls, like, that's definitely a little different now that revival is such a common thing. But after his first fight, Yo gets his next bout of training with all the ogres. Then Team Ren gets fucking murdered in the bath, which is probably unfortunate for them. They're just chilling. And it's like, yeah, we're going to fucking murder you all so you can do your training in the afterlife. But yeah, I mentioned earlier how, like, there was the one page with Hao and his mother, and then we get a whole little Hao flashback with him as a kid. And, you know, that he and his mother were outcasts, and she was killed. So, you know, he's a demon child who will destroy all of mankind, so he's not happy with that, understandably.
Yeah. I feel like the other thing that was also interesting in this volume was, like, getting the, like, one shot with Anna, where, like, she's like, kind of the main character.
Right,
or the main focal point.
Yeah, because it's I don't know if there's an actual Shaman King one shot with Yo as the main character, but it is interesting that like the first version of the story involved like Anna was the main character, and like the way she's like using her Itsuko powers to be possessed is very like early Shaman King. Like there's the stuff with the boxer, or letting Tokugaru possess him and stuff. Like those could have been ideas that he originally planned for this version of the story about Anna, but then rework. He even talks about like it's like female main characters in a shonen magazine isn't easy to do. Like obviously, especially nowadays, like it's popular, or not popular, but it's possible. But I can especially understand. Like I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm struggling to think of a series from this time period that had a female main character. And also this would have been a time period where Shonen Jump was like not the number one most like subscribed to magazine. I'm pretty sure like it wasn't selling the most at this period, because I think Weekly Shonen Magazine had exceeded it until the big three brought it back around for Jump. So I can understand Jump being a little bit more like, hey, we need to do what's successful. And unfortunately, people are sexist and having girl main characters don't sell things to boys. So, unfortunate. But it was interesting to read.
Because it said that this one shot was like summer of 1994.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that would have been, that's 4 years before Shaman King. So,
what I also thought was like really interesting about that, and like seeing the difference in the art as well, because like it's very clearly the character design carried over into Shaman King. Like the beads are there, like the grandmother's there, but it's like there were definitely elements that were tweaked, but also just in general I feel like it looks more like cartoony. I can't think of another way to describe it, really.
It's especially weird seeing expressions on Anna's face.
Yeah,
like very exaggerated expressions that aren't just because she's normally so unemotive, that having her be otherwise is like she's so different from normal Anna, really. But no, it is definitely even compared to early Shaman King, it is definitely more, like you said, cartoony.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a character in it that just reminds me of like Fukumoto's art style, like at a character at a like Kaiji or something. Maybe it's only in a few panels where it really feels like that, but
I'm looking at the one towards the end where you see Anna and the samurai, and they both the teeth, like them having a lot of teeth. That's very normal for Fukumoto.
Okay.
That came to mind. So interesting. Because Fukumoto would have been doing manga. I don't know exactly what the timeline is, but is because Kaiji started in 1996, so that would have actually been 2 years later. So he was doing manga at this point, but Kaiji was his first breakout, like. Or not, maybe not his. Maybe he was doing other stuff. See, the problem with Fukumoto is he's done so many manga, and he's done so many manga concurrently. Like he'll do multiple series at a time. So mentally mapping a timeline of his works is like, well, he was doing multiple things at a time and has been since like the 90s. So it's like I don't know what series. Like it's not like Yabuki did Black Cat and then To Love Ru and then Ayakashi Triangle. Like he only did one at a time, right? Now Fukumoto's like. One at a time.
More like
two
a
or three
Rumiko Takahashi kind of situation.
Yeah, it's right, or especially obviously.
Or
were you
gonna say the fairy tale? Tezuka too, but Mashima as well.
I mean, Mashima has done other stuff on the side, but I feel like because he is still technically doing fairy tale in that he'll do the names, and he has. Other artists like actually drawing the full manga.
Okay.
But even then, he still has like I would rave Fairy Tail Eden Zero. Like that's still a linear. Like he was only doing one of those at a time. Even though he's done other like side stories and like the Heroes manga he did alongside Eden Zero, which was crossing over his works and stuff. Anyway, that is a whole ass tangent. Also, there's the remix chapter where Hao just comes out of nowhere to bully Sati about how she's an old lady. Not really, just she's like 40, and just like she gets pissed off and like crying. It looks like, or something. It looks like tears are shooting out of her eyes. So it's funny. Just a little comedy chapter or extra. Also, I like how Team Ren was naked when they were alive and killed, so they're naked in hell as well. So unfortunate.
Oh, how did I not even like process that they that they did fight? Because I just remember the other group showing up, and then like they were. I don't know that they were necessarily protecting Team Ren, but they were like on their side. I think I just blanked out this part where like, oh yeah, they had to fight to kill them.
Yeah, no, they literally murdered Team Ren and then protected their corpses so that they could, come back to life later. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there more training. Professor Abaj, the spirit who Joko has been using, trains him. And I think he trains Lizard too. I was remembering correctly. And then Sati gets killed, and it's like, oh, wait, hold on. We needed you to revive everyone, and now you're fucking dead.
And Ryu, uppercuts someone with his pompadour.
His hair is so huge these days. It's bigger than it's ever been. And then there's the kerfluffle with the X-Laws and Tamao. I like how they're not just car. They all have very specific, Ferrari Testarossa 92 Special. Like, they're on, I guess maybe Takei is a little bit of either he just did research for it and was specifically like, what kind of cars are these characters like? Or he's just kind of a car nut and he's slipping that in a little bit. Which is, that's do manga with your interests in mind so you can enjoy that aspect of it and get it across, right? Fucking Witch Watch has had 2 whole chapters about denim jeans, and I'm not exaggerating. It's fucking ridiculous. Raw denim, excuse me. There's a difference.
I see.
But anyway, oh yeah, but so another aspect, less of the mechanics of how the oversouls work and stuff, but more just the relationships between shamans and the world as a whole, as they talk about how a giant fucking laser came down from space and landed on this island. Everyone is fucking keeping tabs on this right now. The fucking world is, and how it's but I'm gonna kill them all. And sure enough, we get that at the end where Amanta's fucking dad comes in, who he's this big fucking conglomerate head honcho, and oh shit. So yeah, the officiants are talking about how with so many people having dropped out, the tournament's basically because they just need 4 teams basically, so it's basically decided at this point. Silva has come out of his holding, and he's basically saying, our duty is to protect the Shaman King, so he seems to have come over to the rest of the patch, but I don't know. It's Silva, so
yeah.
Oh yeah, then we get fucking Anna versus Hao, which is on one hand, Hao is holding back because he doesn't want to hurt Anna, but also she's the only fucking character we've seen even fucking remotely go toe to toe with him, and it's she's strong. She's the strongest.
Yeah.
Is it Takei saying it's well, maybe she should have been the main character of the manga after all, you fucking sexist bitches. It's well, if I can't make her the main character of the manga, I'll just make her the strongest one anyway, because she has been stronger than y'all since fucking what, it was 2 readings ago where she's just oh shit, Hao's demons are coming after me. I'm just gonna subjugate to my cause and give Hao the first wound he's ever had in the series. And then she slapped him and gave him the second one, and it's Jesus.
Yeah.
She could.
Yo and Ren and Horo had the rival boys fight, but in reality it didn't matter because Anna exists.
Yeah, Yo is able to overcome the demons again with or the ogres. I like the way he just kind of talks him down a bit, like after, after crushing the shit out of him physically, and making them admit defeat. But then, I don't know, the reaction he gets out of the ogre is it's neat. And they come to respect him, and yeah. Oh yeah, and then we get the first color pages in what feels like a long time. With chapter 246, I was like, I was just flipping through, and I was like, wait, have we not gotten color pages yet this reading? So yeah, cool.
Well, but I mean, like, if there was potentially a popularity poll in there somewhere that we just didn't see, would that would probably been
those would have been color pages. You're right. That's might be another, because it's like, it's not, because generally color pages are given to popular series, and Shaman King, as I understand it, was popular but was canceled because the fucking author had health issues, right? So yeah, that's a good point. That color page or popularity poll pages would not have been in this release. So
yeah,
but yeah, Yo comes back. Faust, I believe Faust. Yeah, Faust brought him back, right?
Yeah,
yeah, and then they need to break, or I think the plan was like him bring Sati back so then Sati can revive. Like, yeah, it was like a whole chain of it where it's like, well, Sati can only bring one person back, so they bring back Jian so she can revive everyone else or something like that. I'm getting the order wrong, but see, it's like they could be code names because like as Monta's dad's coming in, there's like Tabasco and Lighter, and it's which is maybe they're code names or maybe they're just silly manga names. I don't know, and the fact that I don't is. I keep bringing it up because it's just so fun to me, that trope. But yeah, Team Ren's also back up, and they're able to fight off the Hanagumi girls.
This is a part where, like, I got kind of... I think I took a break between, like, reading the one volume and then the last volume. And so I got, like, really tripped up where I'm like, wait... So Hanagumi was just fighting Team Ren, but now they're on the beach, and now what's happening?
Yeah, because like they basically because I'm like reading the panel where the taller one is they just came to take care of the corpses, but they're already back, so it's like nope, we got to retreat, and then they ended up on the beach where they got killed with a bunch of other characters, and shit's just wild, and. Because I was flipping through some of the later volumes and I even noticed like the art was a little different. Like even now that I feel like the art's, obviously artists change, but because this is also specifically a release, like I'm just wondering like how much was redone later. Like, because I just honestly like I remember everyone dying and being brought back to life. I feel like between this point and like I don't know, like I was flipping through earlier and I just noticed some stuff that I just did not fucking remember from and that's obviously it's been so long since I've read the manga. That's been kind of the case with this before, but with the art style changing, I'm also just wondering like how much, if any, has, because I know at the very least, if nothing else, because there was the original ending chapter that when the manga got ended in Shonen Jump, that one was redone when it moved magazines and the author continued the because it's what's it called on the because how Mal has it divided, Kazenban edition, I think is what. So if you use Mal, so this will be helpful. But the first 32 volumes are listed as Shaman King, and the last, because this is a 35 volume the release. The last 3 volumes are on Mal. They're called Shaman King Kazenban, that's basically the original the resolution to the original story that he did in Jump SQ after it was ended because of his health. Okay. So basically next time we'll read the last 2 or 3 volumes of Shaman King and then Kazenban. The last 3 volumes of Shaman King and the last 3 volumes on now. But in this release, it's all just one release. Actually, no, that's the other way I saw it because obviously the art on all the volume covers is redone, and the original volume 32 cover, it's has all the characters, and it definitely reeks of final volume. But the redone volume 30 cover is completely different because it's not the final volume anymore. So yeah, just sharing. But yeah, like Lizer gets his training from Abaj, and his medium and his or Morphia and the car, which is yep. But yeah, Hao's group and some of the other, I think some of the gondola or group are also on the beach when the suits come in with their guns. And I think I had a takeaway, but let me get to that actual part. Yeah, the way that I think Pekote, I think, is like talking about like none of this matters, where it's like what I noticed as a contrast between like Hao's group and Yo's group is that like Yo's group, they all work together, but they also have their own individual goals and reasons for fighting. Like especially I think it's, you know, in Horo Horo, Yo and Ren, where it's like they're allies, but they also very distinctly want to be Shaman King for their own different reasons. Where like Lyzurg, you know, Lyzurg wants to kill Hao, and you know, Joko wants to, you know, I don't know if he wants to spread laughter and stuff, and like you know, obviously being the Shaman King will help all these goals, but they have their own individual reasons for doing it. Where Hao's group, they ran into Hao, who's incomprehensibly powerful, and they, you know, put all their faith into him, and then, you know, if he doesn't care about them, like he doesn't care about their lives, so it's like they basically put all of their faith into him and he did not reciprocate it, so like nothing matters anymore, right? Because they're not doing it for themselves, they have nothing once the one person that they've been giving everything for doesn't care about them anymore. So yeah, because they even say like we mean nothing to Hao, because like, you know, he's been alone and he can read minds, of course, but yeah. Or I think, how did Hao put it? Like, I've felt betrayed from the beginning because, you know, yeah, he's just never had anyone to connect to. So, I just realized. So, because Anna's fighting him and he makes him bring out his raven, Spirit of Fire Raven. So, the only other thing to do this so far was a gigantic space laser. So, Anna is roughly comparable to a gigantic space laser. Does it have a chance? Do either have a chance of beating Hao? No, but they brought out this form. Like they brought out Toguro 100%. They're notable. And yeah, Yo comes in. He's a good boy.
Oh yeah, there was also that page about the girl doing the technique about like, you know, it doesn't work well on people who don't believe in souls. Yes.
Also, I love the 2-page spread where she just fucking kicks Hao in the fucking chest, or maybe I don't know, maybe I don't, the cloak's covering it, but so I'm not 100% sure where it lands, but it's just she gets a good hit on him while calling him a fucking baby.
Yeah. Also, just like when they show up and he's like, I'm running low on mana, let me eat your souls, just casually with like blood on his face.
Yeah, just fucking but yeah, then it kind of winds down anticlimactically, where it's like Yo comes in and it's like they just go and chat at a fucking cafe.
But when Yo shows up, that moment's pretty peak, where like sure. Hao is talking about how does he describe it?
Really are, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, because he can't read her thoughts. I forgot about that. So because I think they mentioned that, right? I'm not making that up.
I think that comes up at some point.
Yeah, I feel like it did, but I don't remember where I No, yeah, I wrote it down in chapter 245. Yeah, well, which makes sense because Anna had that same ability, but she also reached a point in her, you know, personal growth that Hao didn't. So, you know, she's like above him in that sense, so he can't read the thoughts of some, you know, that someone like him, but also very different from him.
Which I think, like, thinking back to the part where, like, she slapped him, like, I don't know if that could maybe even be, like, she was able to do that because he couldn't read her thoughts.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because obviously it's like, I'm going to slap this guy. Yeah, he'd just fucking block it or dodge. And he did reflexively block it, but he didn't... He couldn't read her thoughts. I didn't think about it like that. Fuck, that's really good, actually. And yeah, that actually also makes sense. Because, like, so, you know, I mean, it's fun to, like, hype up Anna because she is pretty fucking strong. But it's like, oh, at the end of the day, yeah, she's nowhere near Hao's level, but he can't predict her, and he's going easy on her because he doesn't want to hurt her because he is interested in her. So it's like, yeah, there's like multiple reasons as to why she's able to put up such a fight, but it's also funny to frame it as like, yes, she's roughly, there you go, power scalars, Anna equals giant space laser. So yeah, it's just funny.
But yeah, like Yo showing up and just like Anna is Anna, I feel like is a really great moment, and it's just they're good.
Because I guess
it's a good 2 pages.
Fuck! Another reason, because like again, how he can read everybody, so whenever someone's hiding something, he always sees what's beneath, basically, right? So with Anna, he wants to see what's beneath, but Yo's she's just Anna, right? Like that, she is Anna. She is true to herself, but again, like how has this thing with betrayal, where I felt betrayed from the beginning, where it's like he just expects that. He expects some level of dishonesty from people, and Anna,
and also like how that ties into Anna's like past, where like at one point there was something like underneath that, but that's not part of her anymore, and Yo able to like Yo is able to see her for just like not the demon that she once was, where like her powers were kind of controlling her life, but like the person that she is. And so it's a good counter.
It's good. Like again, things are clicking into place with discussion. It's like, let's go. I just wish the whole reading was like that, but I'm taking what I'm getting. So
I don't remember who it would have been and like which comment section, or if it was like a tweet or something. But like whoever had mentioned like Shaman King having like one of the best like love interests in like Jump.
No, there was I remember it was a tweet, and I think they just said flat out best, which I don't know if I'd go that far, but Anna is still really good, and there's some really interesting stuff here for sure. So
and
they're talking at the inn, and Anna's
I like the with like that coffee chapter, like I like the first page where like Yo doesn't know anything, so he's like, I'd like something sweet, but it's like it's coffee, so it can only be, there's only so much you can do to like mask the bitterness. You can't really even.
No, I'm not a coffee drinker. And no, I've tried adding like, nope, it still tastes bitter. Adds more sugar. It's still, if you can't do it, don't go to Starbucks, and that's the best you can do. But even then, it's still gonna be pretty bitter, even if it's like 90% sugar, because coffee's just that. And just how casual clothes,
But yeah, no, I used to work at a coffee shop, and like they would always have like, like they'd have me like whenever people would be like looking for a coffee, and it's like describing the different flavors, and so you like taste test it, and I'm just like, I'm sure there are subtle differences. It just tastes bitter and bad.
Yeah.
But I also like the contrast in this chapter, because like often when I think of like anime characters and coffee, it's usually like someone drinking it black to try and appear more mature than they are. So I kind of like the contrast here with Yo and How, where like Yo is just very straightforward, and but I think he even says that, like, where's that page? Where he says something about like, even though it's bitter, it's good, or something like that. I don't remember.
I'm trying to find it. I've not seen it in the second part, but
maybe it was just the line about talking to the like receptionist, that like the latte you suggested was good. Although I thought it said cappuccino in the.
But no, he's fine with the bitter, or at least see, I don't know, because at least character wise, I'm not sure if I'd say he's fine with a bitter taste, but he's definitely used to it, right? Like he's only known bitterness in his entire life, so of course he'd be more accepting of the flavor of coffee, right? Which I guess, like, because usually, you brought up like, it's coffee is very much like an angle for like maturity, where it's like, kids like Yo is a kid, he can't drink coffee, but then and like you said, where you have kids trying to pretend to be more adult by drinking coffee, where of course Hao accepts that he is an adult, like, he's fucking literally thousands of years old through multiple reincarnated lifetimes, so he's of course he just thinks coffee's good. He is an adult, so and of course, like, even though they have their chat at the end of the day, I think Hao says, he had fun talking with Yo, but Yo's like, what a bad guy. Just he can't reconcile with this man.
Yeah, maybe not that the bitter is good, but like you take it along with everything else. That like it's something that has to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it or not reading it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I said my take, so.
Oh, also, I like the, him saying like, "Oh, I'm the elder, so my treat," and then it's like $6.50. You said it's like, oh, it's free, and
how's
that Amidamaru?
He can make money. He's rich as fuck. Just fucking make him pay. So.
And that like Amidamaru's reaction of just like that fiend, he didn't pay the bill.
What a bad guy, as Yo says. But yeah, Mikihisa uses a horn to because they gather all the adults together. So like we need to figure this fucking shit out. Later, Yo and Ren have their conversation about like how to deal with Hao, where it's like Ren wants to kill him and Yo doesn't. Because like Ren's so certain that killing Hao will end the whole cycle of hatred and suffering, but it's as Yo says, when you hurt someone, it comes back around to you, which is actually come to think of it, it's very karmic, I think. Which I've heard multiple interpretations of karma, so I don't know exactly which one's related to like which you can closely relate to the series, because I do know one of them is just like because if we reincarnate through different lifetimes, even across time, then like if you're hurting someone, you might also literally be hurting yourself, right? Another reincarnated version of you. So I know that's part of it. But there's multiple readings of it. So yeah. And I guess actually, wait, doesn't I might be mixing up different religions too. So I'll just put a pin in that for now. Because I was trying to think of it, because I feel like when I think of karma, the yin yang symbol pops into my head, and I was applying that which Ren literally has it on his back. So I was like, wait, and it's like I don't know enough about it. I'm just gonna put a pin in that. So yeah, we're about to get to Team Ren versus Team Funbari Hot Springs, and I just laughed at because you have the Manta sitting with the two kids and they're all the exact same size, and it's like, well, one of these is a high schooler and these two are literally children, and it's like he's so small. But yeah, one thing I was just trying to pay attention to is because like Ren and Horohoro are pretty pissed off at Yo for breaking bread with the enemy, so to speak. But I don't know, Joko doesn't seem to be that. Like he just says that they give it their all, because I feel like Joko more so than the rest of Team Ren especially would align with Yo's ideals, even though like as he said, he's not gonna hold back either way, but he definitely doesn't seem mad about it. So
well, and also like they were attacking with like forced like intent to kill, like because any damage we do here can be undone, like we can revive you, and whereas like even in his first fight, like why am I suddenly forgetting his name? Joko, like wouldn't fight to kill. So yes. I felt like it was pretty in character of him to just sort of watch.
Mm-hmm. No, well, it's funny because you brought up like forgetting his name. I keep pausing too because the 10-year-old me, or the 10 years younger me, is remembering every time I think Chocolove, because that's what he used to be called. I read the entire 35 volumes of manga where he's just called that, and so that still gets in my brain, and it's like, Joko's. I mean, once I got past the original, like his name sounds like a joke, and like once I got past that, it's like Joko's just like an easier to say, better name. So, but but it's still in my head, the other names. So
I see the page I was talking about the coffee, where like Yo wants everyone to a world where everyone can have a comfortable life, but like he'll never fight with hate in his heart, which is why he'd even drink the bitter coffee with Hao. That's what I was thinking of.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then, just like, after all, he doesn't have any friends, and everyone in the audience is like,
Yeah, like he well, he doesn't have any friends, so I'll be his friend, or I'll at least drink coffee with him. And everyone's just the fucking I just loved it. Like the fucking I think who's the guy? I don't recognize the character who's just like watching TV and with a ponytail, and I don't know if I'm supposed to recognize him, but he's just dropped shit. He dropped a plate because he was so shocked to hear.
Oh, that's the guy who worked at the coffee shop, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. He would have been okay. Gotcha. He would have been Apache tribe because I was like part of it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, even like Goldva and the fucking other officiants are just everyone. Then it like repeats the line, but without any art. What's like it's just a blank. It's the heart. But instead of the heart, it's he doesn't have any friends.
I also see like one of the panels they cut to, and it's just giving me the vibe of like the guys on the couch meme.
Where they're like sitting neutral or they're really hyped up.
Yeah.
Funny, I've been thinking about that because the way you describe watching Kill la Kill with Bree, it's like you're the hyped up one, and Bree is the sitting normally one, and but on the same couch. Like that's just like I don't know why that just came up, and we've been brought up like Kill la Kill like 3 times, so it's like I'll just throw that out there. Why not? But yeah, I also like the way Montez sort of like because he even talked about how like he was feeling hollow, like what the fuck am I even doing here? But then he understands Yo the most, right? Because like Yo isn't really like Hao in a sense, but Hao very much like is lonely, and Yo himself also has a loneliness to him, but like he is able to reach out and make other connections. Monta being the first one we see him make, right, in the manga. So yeah. Oh yeah, and like on a whole, or at the back with Hao's group on a whole is like sneaking away because I guess he thinks like Hao's going to get mad at being called a fucking friendless loser on on Shaman television, but he's like I already knew. But yeah, the fighting starts and Faust and Ryu get fucked up immediately. And yeah, like I brought up before, Yo is able to neutralize their oversouls, but he can't neutralize nature. Just like he's basically doing what the Wisdom Kings did in their fight, but like they've already not just like surpassed. They've way surpassed themselves in that fight. So yeah, Yo's just getting knocked around a bit. And the page where he gets like electrified. And he's like, not bad, Ren, as he's turning his head back, and he's just a skelly man. Spooky! Halloween was a week ago. You need to stop with that. But yeah, Yo gets back up. He possesses metal, and Ren is his doubting, basically. There's reluctance. Like, even though, even when there's no, like, consequence, really, like, even if he killed Yo, he could, Sati and Jian are both alive and on their side. They can easily bring him back in and full. Like, even like Ryu and Faust getting really injured, like it's nothing at this point. They can just get healed back up, right? But he still doesn't want. It's still his friend. He still doesn't want to kill him. Like, which is I don't know. It's cool because like Ren, obviously started off the series being very like willing to kill and not seeing much difference between life and death. But now it's like he's gone so far to the other end that he can't kill easily even when he wants to. So it's like, yeah.
Well, yeah, because that was also like how he said was like, there was a hint of reluctance deep down, but the power of my lightning should have made that irrelevant. So like even what he did try to do, like Yo was able to neutralize it with his own element. So it's like yeah, it's like the resolve thing, but also just like Yo is really fucking strong.
Yeah, that's also that is true. You're right. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that Yo literally had one of his arms frozen off because he even says like, "Well, Ryu lost both of them. I can't quit over a scratch like this."
Yeah.
So it's getting brutal over there. But Lizard comes in, posits that the match doesn't really have a meaning to it, and the teams get reshuffled with X1 coming back in and the fucking gondola being pulled out.
I'm also just like chapter 257 being titled like another conclusion, and then like the rival boys fighting each other and kind of all the dialogue that they're having. It's like it does kind of feel like in some ways it has final chapter vibes up until, Lyserg shows up and is like, no, this fight doesn't mean anything.
No, yeah, see, it's like, because for some reason when I first read the manga, I'm pretty sure the last chapter of the original run ended with, like, there was a boat in the last panel, but there was also, I'm pretty sure Anna was also in the last panel. So it's like, it looks like they're about to go on the boat, though, so I don't know. That's also 3 volumes ahead of now, but I'm just, again, I mentioned that when I was skimming through trying to find potential, like, arc breakpoints. The art looked, it looked more like his newer style that, we can very clearly see in the remix chapters. Because it is interesting, because it's like, his even, actually, no. Yeah, I'd have to compare more, but because it's like a non-linear comparison is the issue, because it's like, even in the very early remix chapters, they were very, like, closer. It was his new style, but in those very early chapters, and now his art style has evolved, but also, like, parts of it redrawn, and then, I don't fucking know at all. But yeah, poor Yo is, like, that's right, because they're like, no, we're gonna keep fighting, even though the Shaman fight, the tournament, this round of the tournament's over. And even Joe, he'll like, hey, or Lyserg's like, I feel bad for Yo, I'll join his side, and it's like, Joko's coming into the fight too, and it's like, wait, hold on, like, rip Bozo. That does it for the Shaman King reading. Definitely had more fun discussing it than I remember reading it, so that's always good.
That was a lot.
Yeah, very big reading. So we have the next episode. It's probably going to be a shorter episode. Like, we've managed to keep them over an hour for this long, but it's going to be only 6 volumes, which is like lower average for a Nen Show episode. Plus, we traditionally, finishing a series, I feel like we tend to just speak less, because there's less speculation, I guess, and there's also because it's just like, I don't know, maybe or less uncertainty, because we have more of an idea of, like, what the series is about, perhaps, or...
But then we do also have to do, like, favorite characters.
You're right,
I don't know if we're going to be able to do favorite arcs, because, like...
It's one arc.
What arcs?
Like, I don't think we won't do an arc ranking, but we can at least do fights, and, I don't know if I can pull out a top 5, like, fights, but I can at least pull out, probably 5 characters that I like, so, we'll do that next time. Which, by the way, the next time we're going to read chapters for this release, it's 258 to 300. But it's, because again, I assume if people are reading along, they're also reading the official release that was, I think came out in 2020, is what my volumes say. I can't check right now, but yeah, so, we will, we're finishing Shaman King. Now, I think we'll decide after the next reading if I feel like we should at least read Flowers. Personally, just because there is the anime coming up. I don't know if we're gonna read Zero. I know we were suggested to read Zero first, but just like, it's like we have 12 more volumes that we could read, so it's like 6 and 6 just makes the most sense. So even if we might miss out on something, like, we're still gonna read if we read Zero and Red Crimson. So we'll talk about that for sure next time. Either way, so yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah, I said chapter 258 to 300. So. We will see you next time. Goodbye.